Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight I am going to have you cook dinner with me. We're just making a really quick egg roll in a bowl. Now I do make homemade egg rolls quite a lot. Tonight I just didn't have the wrappers ready, so we're just going to throw everything in a bowl and eat it that way. If you're going low carb, this is a good option for you. So this is how I make mine. Over here in the skillet, I've got some ground pork that was seasoned with some garlic and salt and pepper and a little bit of ginger and soy sauce. I actually got that ground pork from Walmart whenever they were doing their meat markdowns for the day. And that is good and brown. So I'm going to start throwing in cabbage. This looks like a mountain of cabbage. This is actually just one large head of cabbage. And all I did was cut it into like little strips. So I'm going to throw this on top of there. And whenever you're cooking cabbage, it does cook down. So if you think you've got a lot, you probably still don't have enough. So I'm going to pile this on there. Alright, so that was probably 3/4 of the cabbage that I had cut up. Piled it to the top, so that will probably be enough. But what I was saying about that ground pork, if you go to Walmart, I think our meat markdown days here are Tuesdays. They used to do it on Thursday, but the last couple times I went, they had it marked down on Tuesdays, so I picked up that ground pork. I knew I wasn't going to use it that day, but that I would use it later. I usually use it either in dumplings or egg rolls whenever I make Asian food for dinner. So what I did was I brought that home. Needed to be either used or frozen that day, so I mixed up all of my seasonings in it, put it in a good freezer bag, and then just popped it in the freezer. So if you're trying to save money on groceries, that is a way to do it. Look for the markdown meat and then just get it ready and freeze it until you're ready to use it. Or use it that day if that's when it is getting ready to expire. So I threw in that cabbage. In my food processor, I put 1 medium onion and 2 large carrots and just shredded them up. So this is going to go in next. And I'm just going to hopefully try to make a well in the middle here. And then we're going to dump that right in the center. And of course, you don't have to use ground pork. You could use chicken, you could use shrimp if you liked, or you could just make vegetarian egg rolls. Doesn't really matter. If you're going to do shrimp, though, you want to throw your shrimp in and cook it last after your vegetables are cooked, because shrimp only takes a few minutes. And then as far as seasonings for this, I have some ground ginger here. This is the Members Mark brand from Sam's Club. I've had this for like forever. Still have probably half a bottle left in there. I have some reduced sodium soy sauce. This is from Aldi. Little bit of ground black pepper and then just some garlic powder. I'm not going to add any extra salt to it because soy sauce on its own is pretty salty, even the reduced sodium kind. And I had put a little bit of salt in with my ground pork before I froze it. So now I'm going to try to gently turn that over. Alright, so what I'm going to do now to help the cabbage cook a little bit faster is I'm actually going to take a small measuring cup and put just a little bit of water in the bottom of that pan and then put a lid over top of it to help steam those vegetables. Alright, so probably just a couple tablespoons of water. And I'm putting the lid on there, and I have just a little bit left in the bottom of there. If I need to add more, I can. You just don't want to put too much water because the cabbage and the carrots will release water as they cook, and you don't want your egg roll mixture to be super runny. Alright, so now all we're going to do is wait for this to cook down, and then I will come back when it is time to add in some of our seasonings to it. Alright, so it has cooked down enough that I can stir it without it sloshing out. This is what it's looking like so far. So what we're going to do is add in the seasonings. So I'm going to put in about half a teaspoon of ground ginger. So just like about that much. I don't usually measure anything precisely. We eyeball it. So about half a teaspoon of ginger. I'm going to go with about 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder. Some fresh ground black pepper. It probably comes out to about 1/4 teaspoon on that. I'm going to stir this around a little bit. Alright, and then I'm going to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of this soy sauce, and then I'm going to put the lid, or stir it again, and then put the lid back on it. Alright, this will probably go for about another 10 minutes, just until the cabbage is completely cooked through and soft. You don't want it like mushy, you still want it to have some crunch to it whenever you bite into it, but you want it to not be like completely raw either. So like halfway cooked. We will be back in 10 minutes to check on this, and hopefully it will be done, or at least almost done by then, and then we can plate it. The last thing that I'm going to do before it goes on the plates is sprinkle a little bit of parsley flake over it. But I will see you in 10 minutes. So it ended up only taking about another 7 minutes. This is what it looked like once it was all finished and plated. If you tried this recipe, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and consider subscribing to our channel and watching some more of our content. Also, check us out on Instagram if you have not yet, and give us a follow over there. And thank you so much for watching.